What is up, creatives? This is Tom. Welcome back to another Budget Wednesday on a Friday. I know, but you know, we're talking budget lenses, so I couldn't pass it up. It had to become a Budget Wednesday, and I wanted to publish it and didn't want to wait another week. I'm wearing a hat for like the 8th video in a row, it feels like. I haven't plucked up the courage to have a lockdown haircut yet, but we're rolling with it. Let's roll that intro. Right guys, so today we are jumping back to the Sony system, the Sony e-mont system. This is my Sony a6500, probably one of the best cameras that I've ever owned. I absolutely love this little camera. And we're talking e-mont lenses. So this is the Sigma 30mm F1.4. This is the Sigma 16mm F1.4, both Sigma primes. Which focal length should you choose? What I thought would make a really fun video is we're in isolation, we're in lockdown at the moment. I thought I would challenge myself to take as many sort of good photos with both of these lenses without leaving my bedroom, just on my own, no help, and just to see what sort of output we get, and hopefully you guys can make a decision about which lens is right for you. These lenses are both amazing budget-friendly options for the Sony system. If you're on a Sony APS-C camera and you're looking for reviews of these pieces of glass, you probably don't need to look much further. They are absolutely exceptional and they are incredible for the money. However, if you wanted to see what these lenses can do, stick around for the rest of the video and we'll shoot some fun stuff. Okay, so throughout this video, this is going to be more of a sort of photographic comparison. The good news is if you're interested in the sort of video performance of both of these lenses, the video performance is basically exactly the same as the photo performance. They both are fantastic lenses, and the biggest difference between them is just going to be basically that sort of focal length and the difference in characteristics you're getting from that focal range difference. So to start off with, what we're going to do is shoot just a couple of portraits to give you an idea, really good sort of demonstration of the difference in focal lengths and ranges and what that's going to do if you're sort of shooting portraits or sort of faces. Alright, here you go. You can clearly see the difference between the two focal ranges here. Here is the 30mm f1.4 and then here is the 16mm f1.4. You can see that just basically the sort of facial differences and the sort of distortion. 16mm is just not a very flattering focal range for faces and that type of thing. You're probably going to want to go with the 30mm if you want to shoot a bunch of portraits. Something I will say, which I have to admit I wasn't expecting, is with the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and I was doing these sort of self-portraits, super easy to, when you're directly next to the camera, just hit the shutter button if you're taking photos of yourself, because the lens is obviously wide enough that you can literally just press it nice and easily on the top of the camera. Alright, so obviously the 16mm, perfect for wides, perfect for landscapes. Obviously in this type of situation though, we're not going to be able to do any of that. So what I actually really love about the 16mm lens is it gives you a little bit more flexibility to do really creative shots, sort of creative, unique angles that you just wouldn't be able to get. So I've got a sort of an idea of me sort of playing PlayStation controller, nice wide sort of view and focused on the controller. We'll try that, and then straight afterwards we're going to try a sort of pulling an object off a shelf and having the camera sort of concealed, which I think would look quite cool as well. Alright, so for this one, basically I've got my camera, I'm not quite sure if you can see it back here, but it's sort of buried in between the a couple of lenses, so I'm going to try and sort of do a technique where the camera is almost like obscured by some foreground and I'm pulling a lens out of my gear rack here. That's looking okay, but I want a bit of foreground on one of the other sides, so I'm just going to move some objects around, try and get a little bit of a better feel. Another one that I think the 16mm is better at, and again this sort of ties into just the sort of, I think it's a slightly more creative lens, especially if you're in this type of environment, is levitation photography. So I'm going to chuck the 30mm and see what we can get. believe it or not, I actually think we got an absolute killer one there, and I think it's going to make the perfect thumbnail. Alright, last up we're going to do a little bit of product photography. I've got my AirPods on my desk. I'm just going to do sort of super close zoom, almost like macro shots of these AirPods. I think you'll find by far and away that the 30mm is the perfect fit for these product shots compared to the 16mm. Again, you just get a bit of an odd look with these 16mm. Let's give it a whirl. There we go, guys, kind of by far and away, that is the biggest difference. Personally, I think for portraits, if you're wanting a lens for portraits or for product photography, the 30mm is an amazing fit. If you want a little bit of more of a sort of well-rounded lens, go for the 30mm. If you're into landscapes or sort of interesting creative photography, the 16mm is probably the purchase you're going to want to make. Both of these lenses will be linked down below in the description. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.